Hello, everybody, and welcome to I'll Watch It Later podcast, where we are getting down to some unfinished business. We are wrapping up the year 2021. We are giving our Jordan and I are going to give you our top 5 most favoritist films of the year, and we're going to give you our least favoritist films of the year. I'm really excited to do this. I've been waiting to do this all day. Well, all day, all year.
You've been complaining since before Christmas.
I've been complaining.
Yeah, Jordan had to do stuff. I can't.
Oh yeah, let's push it. Hey guys, can we push it back? I know it's a year-end review, but let's do it in April. So anyway,
oh my God, can we do it in April?
And Scott is just going to be hanging out and
Look, Scott, I'm
probably
sure,
looking at himself in a mirror. Or
I think Scott saw 5 movies with us. So
I'm
going to
bring the content. Yeah, so you guys are just going to lay the groundwork, and I'm just gonna put the icing on the cake.
But
because I'm the one who people tune in for.
Yeah,
it's true.
Sure.
It's going to be his thoughts on
the Everyman,
the Everyman Show.
But before we get
relatable.
started, I got the show a gift. I am a giver, so I am giving the show. I'm giving back to you guys.
Notice how we waited till be on air for this? Like, he just couldn't say, "Hey guys, I really appreciate all our hard work since August."
So
it's about
content.
me.
Is this why I got the Venmo request for $25? Did you get the Venmo request for $25 from Aaron?
I thought that was for show stuff. Yeah, I guess so.
That must be for the gift.
That's funny because I don't use Venmo. So haha. Anyways, so I saw some stuff online and I was like, ooh, I'm going to order this for my friends.
Oh gosh, I already see the box.
Oh, I can't.
Well,
wait.
just because you guys want to make it a personality trait, everybody online. I figured we could.
We are gonna go get tattoos after the show with the A24 logo.
They're A24 candles, and that's what they are. And you
couldn't even let me open it. Like you had to. It's like Scott running over my thing. Like I just let me open the goddamn box.
I was gonna tell you what they were the whole time.
Would one say that it burns slowly?
Now,
like an A24 film?
Can I keep going?
No.
So
can I finish?
You each got your own specific candle. So one of them, I got Jordan. I got you the horror candle, and Scott.
Jordan got the horror candle.
Yeah, he got the horror candle.
I like horrors.
And Scott got the Western candle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Smells like manure.
And I went ahead and grabbed myself the noir candle because I'm into film noir. So
it's
Personality
interesting.
Trait. Do you want to smell my candle?
Yeah, we'll trade and smell candles.
Mine smells really good.
I'm not gonna lie. I really do dig candles.
Yours actually kind of smells pretty good.
I think I
I
smelled them all before I gave them to you
just
guys.
gave them
No,
look
I'm trying to place what the.
It's got like a
what's in it.
leather, almost gunpowder.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I did smell all of them beforehand, and I did think the horror one smelled the best, even better than mine. So
That does smell pretty good. Thank you, Aaron.
you're welcome.
So giving.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you very
that
much.
is your 2021 gift.
I will slow burn my candle.
It smells like darkness. 'cause
Yeah, but
it's
it's
noir.
like the second week of January. Why are you giving me a 2021 gift? Just like the top 5.
Aaron-
Why'd you wait so late?
Aaron kept the sexy candle for
No, I
himself.
didn't. It's noir. It's my favorite type of film.
That does smell very perfumey compared to the other.
It was
two.
very
Like,
sexy. It makes me want to touch myself.
I didn't realize what they smelled like. It's not like they
That's pretty good,
told
though.
you what they smelled like online. All I know is it was fun to buy these guys.
I
or
do
buy
love
them
when
for
another
you.
man gives me a candle.
Plus, the
Yes.
other reason I thought it was funny
Very homoerotic.
was that there are no noir films from A24, so it makes me laugh.
That is kind of weird,
There's only horror, and there's absolutely no westerns from A24.
right?
A24 did not put much work into the labels.
That's just their label. That is their
is
label
that
for
their label?
everything.
Yeah, they're very.
They're very
bones.
like, oh, this is what we look like. We're bougie. Please make us your personality.
Very plain
trait.
and basic, like our movies.
So.
We're gonna draw
Anyways,
pictures on them.
Merry
A lot of drawing
Christmas,
faces.
guys.
Thank you.
Happy
That
New
actually
Year.
smells really good. I will burn that. I love.
Good. Well,
candles,
let's hope
but
so.
I'm
Are you going to
working.
burn your candle, Scott?
Probably.
Awesome.
I mean, unless it's like a huge collector thing or something, then I can.
It's not a collector's thing.
Oh,
They
okay.
were no. You can go on there and buy as many as you want.
Literally,
as
like
many as I
it's like a
want.
Target candle, and they just slap their label on
Not
top.
And
like
I'm
your-
not
not like
trying
the
to
Halloween
brag, but
candle.
they're not cheap, so I know you will not buy them because you are cheap. So, anyways, okay, guys. Let's
It's like I
get-
saw new snacks. Go get them.
That's literally what he did.
That's not what I said.
He's literally, hey, I saw them. This is where they're at. If you
Guys,
guys
I
want to
saw
go pick
like
them up.
5 new snacks. I'm sure you'll find
I
them.
just said I didn't,
Just
I
walking.
didn't pick them up.
Just keeps walking.
Oh,
Takes
so,
pictures, sends them to us. You can find them here, guys. I'm out.
Sends
Right.
GeoPoint.
I gotta go. I gotta go play disc golf. I'm not gonna part with a sawbuck for these snacks. You
No
guys
way.
can do that. As everyone knows, Scott gets his snacks from work. So,
Oh.
anyways,
I
good,
must
though.
work everywhere.
why?
Man, because I get you all the Pepsi stuff.
Oh,
So he
here we
works
go.
at Pepsi.
How much those cost you?
Those are
What?
those.
Okay, so wait.
0.0.
So are
You know
we
what?
are we basing our
No.
snack scores on
Apparently,
cost?
yeah.
Well,
what
I don't
we
even know why
spend
we're talking about snacks. We're supposed to be doing a year-end show. We just Scott's cheap. The end of story. Anyways, let us continue this show. Also, we're going to eat barbecue afterwards, so we can talk about that.
So we're going to talk about
show.
snacks after this.
Yeah, after the snack show. So, okay. So how this is going to work is I have an idea, but I don't know if it will work, and I didn't run it past you, so we're kind of off the fly here. But we do one bad, one good, and then we just work our way down the list. Mine is specific, like it's 5 through 1 in a particular order.
My top 5 is a definite, like, my number 1 is my number 1 of the year that I picked. My number 5, I mean, honestly, like, I thought it was going to be easy to do a 5. I found that I was pulling things off my list to redo it. It was kind of annoying. So we could do that. Yeah, I didn't really write down my top 5 worst, but there is a lot to pick from. I've got so many. So trust me, I will have bad movies to talk about.
So we'll
Yeah. Me
so
too.
Yes.
we will start with our bottom 5. I don't know if Scott's gonna throw production in here or not.
Yeah. There's already going to be a lot of production in there, but bottom 5.
So my fifth and
This is your fifth.
my
worst
fifth
movie.
worst film. So how this works is I always make a top 10 list, and I'm chopping it in half, and I'm thinking, what do I want to bring to the show, and what do I also what do I want to talk about? So I'm going to bring up the 5 worst films I saw this year. However, it's not in it's not the worst of the worst film. It's just mostly the fact that I wanted to talk about this show.
So
and
you're just not going to do 1-to-1. Like, we're not going to go back and forth. You're just going to list off your 5 and say these are the worst.
No.
movies I
We're
ever
gonna
thought
go
of.
one by one. But
Gotcha,
what I'm
okay.
saying is, my how I create the list is I do a top 10, and 10 being the worst movie I saw that year, one being one being the worst movie I saw that year. I apologize.
Yeah.
And 10 being it's still one of the worst movies I saw that year, but not as bad as the others. But how I've had to chop this is I want to bring you the top 5 worst films, but they're more like films I want to talk about, if that makes any
Gotcha.
sense. So number 5 worst film for me this year was Spiral, the Book of Saw. It was fucking terrible. They tried to reinvent the formula. I went and saw it alone in the theaters.
I'm so sorry.
It's even the traps couldn't save it. Chris Rock was good in it. That was the only redeeming factor.
He was the executive producer, I believe.
Yeah,
so
why?
he was the one. Well, I don't know why. It was weird. Like, when I heard that
Got
he
a lot
was
of money.
Yeah, well, when I heard Chris Rock is going to be rebooting the Saw franchise, I'm like, excuse me?
I kind of got excited.
Yeah, and the idea of him doing that sounded great. I was like, okay, it's going to be, not to, go off on some weird tangent. It was going to be more black oriented. I thought it was going to be kind of like Candyman, where they're going to do more black horror. And yeah, that movie, I ended up catching it eventually when it came into video on demand and watched it, and it was boring. I was bored. I didn't believe Sam Jackson's character that great.
Well, see, that's what I was going to say. Sam Jackson shows up. I think he showed up for a day of shooting. He phoned it in as hard as he could phone it in, even
Right.
for a Sam Jackson performance. And I knew exactly who the killer was 3 minutes into the film. Like, there was no surprise, there was no shock. None of the torture porn that these films love to incorporate was there. It was just it was so phoned in, it was so phony that I don't even put it with the rest of my Saw collection. I just put it in its own S. Yes, I own it because I feel like I have to own everything. But
it's true.
but yeah, that is definitely one of my least favorite films this year. What do you got? Oh, go ahead.
I know you're
Go
going to be
ahead.
shocked at this one, but
You saw it.
I have not seen Saw.
No,
like this one you're talking about.
Spiral.
Because,
The
Spiral.
Book of Saw.
Because I just heard so much shit about this movie.
Right.
And I like the early Saw films. And I mean, if anybody has listened, I mean, it was on my top 5 Halloween.
Right.
This was a movie that did not even tickle my fancy to want to go watch.
Now, and I get that, and I read a lot of those early reviews and stuff too. But I always say at the end of the day, make your own opinion.
Yeah,
and a lot of
it's
people.
tough though when everybody's shitting on a movie to make you want to eagerly sit through a movie.
Well, a lot of people didn't like the ending Saw films, and I think the last Saw movie is pretty good as far as it goes. They brought everyone back.
Yeah,
like remember this? It was all a twist. So a lot of people crap on that last Saw movie, but I think it's pretty good. And then so I thought maybe this was going to be along more of the same. I wanted to know how they were going to incorporate it. I think me and Jordan saw the trailer for it 800 times before they moved it because of the pandemic, and I was actually very interested. So I kind of avoided all the negativity because a lot of people were giving bad scores based on just the fact that movies were being put back in the theater. So
and I was actually looking forward to seeing it in the theater. I was going to go with you, just with scheduling and your work. I mean, things didn't work out this one time, and I didn't want to go hang out with you. And then, but yeah, I'm glad I missed it. Like there are some movies where it's like, okay, I'm glad I didn't see it in the theater. Like not to go crazy on any newer movies, but with the new Matrix movie, I ended up watching it at home, and honestly, I'm glad I did because I think my idea of that movie would have been.
So that's an honorable mention. I didn't feel that it was worth putting in my top.
It was so last minute. It's like
top 5?
Yeah.
Oh, top 5.
It's not in my top 5. No, but it's an honorable mention.
I would hope it's not in your top 5.
No.
It's no. It's in my top. It would be in my top 10 worst if I had got to do the list this year. But it was like he said, last minute, came out right at the end of the year. I
literally
didn't have high hopes, but just so you know, The Matrix Resurrection is fucking garbage.
Yeah. Anyway, but yes, that's
Jordan
one of those
loved
movies.
it.
Not saying I loved it.
We could talk about.
I didn't have.
that.
Well, that'll be the next show.
If you question anything, Aaron's going to say that you hated it.
No.
But yeah, Spiral was one of those where it's like I was really excited to see it, and then like what Scott said, there was so much negativity around it. I mean, even you told me it was just like, yeah, this was not good. And at that point, I was just like, all right, I'll just wait. Like I can just wait. And then eventually, like I said, I ended up catching it. There was a lot of movies that I needed to catch up on, and I went through a run where I was staying up late and just watching whatever I could, and I just felt like that was almost like a waste of my time.
Yes.
And it's like I'm not like Aaron. I'm not going to own that one. I own all the other ones, and that's not going to go with the collection.
Let's move on from Spiral.
Yeah. So
we got 20 movies to talk about. So what was yours?
This was hard for me to do a worst 5 because there was a lot of bad movies.
So many bad movies.
This one for me, I've alternated between whether or not I wanted to make this number 5 or number 1 because it equally is just so bad to me. My number 5 of the worst movies of 2021, Space Jam with LeBron James.
Okay, so that was my second worst film, which is fine.
It's the worst. It is so bad.
Guess what?
What?
I didn't watch that one either.
Okay, cool.
You know why? Because I fucking hate LeBron James.
So,
don't shit on my Space Jam childhood.
Okay, see, here's the thing. I didn't like the original Space Jam. I was never into it. I didn't like basketball enough to be that into it. I thought it was okay. Like I liked the Bill Murray parts; they were kind of funny.
It was like Who Framed Roger Rabbit for sports fans.
But it was more wooden. Like Michael Jordan was not an actor. Like he was wooden in this, and like
Dude, Space Jam 1 is awesome. Let's get past that. You're completely wrong about that. But Space Jam 2 is a giant pile of crap. It kind of ruins the first one. This whole WB being meta in all their movies now, Warner Brothers being all meta in their movies now, is getting
it
out
was
of
just nothing but
control.
guess what? Here's a cameo. Here's a cameo.
They
Here's
did
a cameo.
the same shit in Matrix, and that's what I was gonna say.
Right.
Warner Brothers is just like meta. We're so meta. Look at how meta we are. We're aware of reboots and blah blah blah. A couple years ago, that stupid Emoji film came out, and all it was corporate branding, corporate. Space Jam 2 is literally like, buy our cereal, buy our merchandise. Look at this person. Do you remember this? How great is this? It is a slap in the face to anyone who thinks that film is art, that thinks that movies are an escape. It takes everything and puts it. It gives him a kid that doesn't even exist in real life. You know, when you saw Space Jam 1, that was his real wife. Those were his real children. I just thought that it was completely. It was just not only a bad movie, but it was more of an insult to people who like.
You could do the branding thing. It works at some points. I mean,
name a movie.
So if you look at like Wreck-It Ralph 2, that was full of brands. It was
Yeah.
eBay, Twitter. It was very like, but it
didn't
worked.
focus on them.
Right, but
This
that's what I'm saying
focuses
is
on them.
it did saturate it, but it worked because it was actually a decent animated
They
movie.
had a story, and then they built the world around it,
Correct,
and it made sense. Like, oh, he's in the internet. Of course, all this is going to exist in the internet.
Yeah.
And they tried to do that with this, where it's like, oh, now it's in the internet. Don Cheadle is the ultimate bad guy computer thing, and like, okay, this sucks. Like, this is the worst. Like, the characters weren't believable. They made. I don't know.
Don Cheadle should get a fucking Oscar for that film, only because
He showed
was
up.
the best part of it, and he actually, I felt like he was like,
He was
okay,
acting.
I'm actually gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna act the shit out of this.
Yeah,
And
for me, it was weird because they tried to update just take away the bad acting, take away, the live action portions of it. The cartoons themselves, I hate this new trend where they want to put a shine or a new twist on existing properties. And like the way Bugs looked, the way Lola looked, like all these characters, they looked way too artificial. And it's weird talking about a cartoon that way, but at least like I'm at a point now where I'm starting to actually hate computer animated movies.
even Toy Story.
That's different. That was a toy. That was a brand built on
I'm
can
just
make.
kidding.
But you take these hand-drawn animation and some of the traditionally done things, and you throw it through a computer. You round off all the edges. You take away the flaws, and it becomes this weird, artificial, weird thing. And I didn't like it.
You think that's because you have a connection to like Warner Brothers and like?
Oh, I'm sure
like,
that's a big part of it.
Bugs Bunny, things like that. Because I was the same way with like Masters of the Universe.
Oh yeah.
All the reboots they've done on like Masters of the Universe, they've wrecked the characters, and I have like a certain way that I think they should look.
Yeah.
And when they change it, I'm like that guy that's like arms crossed. Nope.
Or
I'll
like-
fucking change my He-Man.
Or like the voice is off.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's not really Bugs Bunny because it's not Mel Blanc. You know what I mean? Like there's a large portion of nostalgia that really affects how I view some of these newer properties using older IPs. And that's what really, that's one of the complaints I had about this movie. Plus, like I said, I didn't like the first one, so why would I like the second?
So yeah, well, Space Jam sucks. Please don't. Space Jam 2 sucks. Space Jam 1, classic, excellent film. So let's move into our best films of the year. So number 5. So once again, I have a top 10. It was really hard for me to whack 5 and put the 5 best because there are so many. In fact, there were movies I was telling you about that I had to put in honorable mentions just because they deserve to be mentioned on the show, but I didn't have a place for them in a top 5. They needed to be a top 10. And that's okay. We just don't have the time. I'm not going to sit here and make you listen to a 4-hour podcast. We're not Quentin Tarantino, so he had a 4-hour podcast about his favorite film discoveries of the year. Anyways, so my number 5 best film of 2021 was Nightmare Alley.
I will ask you simple questions. You will answer in short sentences only what you believe to be absolute truth.
Absolute truth. I can do that.
Now, brief as you can, what is your name?
Stanton Carlisle.
Are you a true medium?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Carla,
Doctor, how about that?
please lay down.
Can you read minds?
Yes, I can. Under the right circumstances.
Keep your answers brief.
What do I want?
To be found out, same as everybody else.
Are you in contact with the beyond?
Well, we've had our share of snake charmers in the past. We deal with them.
You don't fool people, Stan. They fool themselves.
I've given you a fortune. It's time that you delivered.
When does it end? I want to know.
Bradley Cooper, excellent performance, probably going to win an Oscar. Like I said, it's not as good as the 1947 version, but it's still one of the most best noirs in the world. Guillermo del Toro kills it in this. It's well put together. It's fucking amazing. it's just a great movie. I know neither of you've seen it, so it's just me talking about it. But
That's fine. No, it's I've known enough about it, and it's one of my bigger regrets of not seeing it yet. And then I found out something
black and
about
white
it.
version.
Yes, thank
I
you.
know we gotta go.
I want to see the.
Sorry,
black,
I didn't mean to steal that from you, but I'm so excited.
No, that's
about
twice.
It.
The candles in this. Got it. No, I want to see it. I actually ordered the Tyrone Power version.
Awesome.
Like I said, I want to watch that. I want to watch the newer one first, and then watch the. Wait, which one do you?
I watched the older one first,
Okay.
and then the newer one.
So I want to do it in reverse. I want to watch the newer one, kind of get that feel, really immerse myself in that world, and then I'm going to go back and watch the original and try to see, you know, how I feel about it, because I know you had a certain feeling where the old one was, you know, better for you. The
but this
acting
is
was different, but
still a great.
well,
movie.
yeah, and I'm not going to take away from that, but I'm just saying I want to kind of do something opposite, so we'll see how kind of we align or if we don't.
Right.
But yeah, it's getting high praise. It's got a huge cast. Like it's
Toni
amazing
Collette,
looking.
What's her face? Claire Blanchett. I don't know if I
Kate.
said that. Kate Blanchett.
So I guess
Claire.
here's a question from a normie that
Yeah, normie.
obviously hasn't seen this movie.
What's up, Normie?
It's a remake, correct?
It's
Yes.
yeah, but of a
Does it
very
stay true to the original movie?
So
Like,
like-
is it an exact remake?
well. If you actually listen to the show we did, it's based off of a book, and the first movie is.
I'm asking you questions.
I know.
Contributing. Be nice.
It's based off of a book. So the Bradley Cooper version is more accurate to the book, as the Tyrone
Okay.
Power version takes its own liberties, but did the best it could for a movie that's made in 1947. I can tell that some stuff was cut out from the 47 version. So the one from 2021 is 2.5 hours long. The one from 1947 is 2 hours long. It's just more information, pretty much. More information. Without giving it too much away, without spoiling it for you guys, because I really do want you guys to watch it. There's a scene where he's trying to convince a rich man that he can talk to his dead wife, and I think the scene works better in the 2021 version than it does in the 1947 version. It's also more, like I said, once again, it's more accurate to the book. So
I guess I have this thing with people remaking the same movies,
Guillermo del Toro, though.
because if the original one of those movies where you consider it just as good.
Yeah,
So is this movie just that good because it's just a remake of that original movie?
No, it's the first. Well, the story itself is amazing, but Bradley Cooper's performance is next level. So when you watch Stanton Carlisle in the 1947 version, he's likable. Like, you want him to succeed. When you watch Bradley Cooper in the new version, you hate him, and that's the way you're supposed to feel about the character.
So I guess I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I
because
understand.
it'd be like somebody taking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. 10 years from now, we get a remake of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it's exactly the same, but they changed it a little bit, and everybody's saying how great the movie was.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but no. So like I said, like in the 1947 version, you're supposed to really like Tyrone Power, or the movie makes you feel like you're supposed to like him, and then it's almost a tragedy at the end of the film. In this one, you're waiting for Bradley Cooper's downfall. You're like, this guy is a piece of shit, and I need him to die. But it's like I said, it's very noir. It's way darker. The newer version is way darker than the 1947 version. And you'll have to see the movie to understand what I'm talking about. And I really don't want to spoil anything else for you. So, number 5 for me was Nightmare Alley. What about
Nice.
you, Jordan?
Number 5 for me, I think you kind of already know where this is going to be on my list. It's surprising that I wanted to go with. Okay, so my bottom 5 was, you know, in the 5 was Space Jam. You know, a lot of cartoony shit, a lot of terrible acting. This is the complete opposite. It's animated. It was amazing. It was funny where it needed to be funny. It was adult, but it was also great for kids. It was a great story. And as a dad, I was seriously just not looking forward to the day where my daughter's old enough to be like this. My number 5 was Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Katie used to be my little buddy. We'd go on nature hikes and skip rocks.
Slow down there, killer.
Are you excited for camp?
Don't make me go.
We used to be so connected.
Hey, Dad, smile.
You know, you could experience things a whole lot better without that camera.
Dad, this is how I experience things.
I don't think...
Yes, tomorrow I'm finally leaving for college. But in the meantime, I made you guys this goodbye video.
You know what? This is our last night together. How about we make 10 seconds of family eye contact? Starting... Put your phone down. Now. No, you're allowed to blink. It's just eye contact.
Ugh, finally.
No screens at the table. Lynn, why are you kicking me? I don't understand.
I'm just gonna...
No, look, I'll watch it.
Dad, it's too late.
Look, I want to watch it.
Dad, this is exactly why I'm excited to leave tomorrow.
Katie.
I know you can fix this.
Why do you need all that to take me to the airport?
I canceled your plane ticket to college.
Yeah, I actually, when we first moved into this house, I sat down when I was building all this and watched it, and it was fucking awesome. I loved every second of it. Have you seen it?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
This is why I did not bring a top 5 list or a bottom 5 list.
That's
fine.
all right.
It's on Netflix, so I definitely think you should check it out. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. 'Cause
It
I
is.
just saw the
I
Blu-ray
keep
came out.
hearing about it because people are like, dropping the name as being like in their top like movies of the year. So it's probably something because I like animated movies.
Even in my top 10 list, this wouldn't have been on my top 10 list, but it would have been an honorable mention because I do feel like this is an incredibly good family movie, a movie you can sit down and watch
It's
multiple
fantastic.
times. There's multiple rewatchability with it. It's funny.
It's
Like, you're
very
laugh
layered.
out loud funny. What's that?
It's very layered. Like I've watched it twice now. Like I threw it on kind of in the background like you were going to do, and then I found myself sitting down and watching it. So I was like, I need to kind of sit and actually watch it. So I threw it on again.
You
know,
do
a
the
couple
dad
months
thing
later.
where you like slowly inching.
Yeah,
into the
you're
living
like,
room.
I'm going to do something to put this on for the kids. And then I'm just like side eyeing the whole time. I'm like, oh, this is kind of funny. I want to watch this. It's a very, it's one of those timeless stories wrapped in like a newer package. It's, dad, bonds with his kids or mainly his daughter. And, she grows up. She's going to go off to college. Her tastes start to differ from what he's like. And he's like this.
Make me cry.
Exactly. He's a Luddite. I mean, he's not into technology.
No.
He's one of those build it with
No.
your hands types.
It's too woke for you, bro.
And I think at the core of it, he'll move past the wokeness of it.
I mean, I've got 2 daughters.
I don't
so
mind
it's like-
the wokeness. It didn't bother me one bit. It felt natural in this film.
See, I don't.
It did.
Everybody says that like, no, you're not gonna like woke movies. Is that? I don't care if it's got some of that aspect in it. I just don't want it to be just rammed
It's not
down my throat.
It's not the central
Right.
core of the story.
I don't
it's
care.
It's almost a throwaway comment, and then later on you kind of see it, but then it doesn't matter because you've already accepted these characters as something that you care about. It's the same, as when we watched Anna versus the Apocalypse, where it's like you get
I would agree
get to
with
those
that.
characters and you love those characters. So that's kind of how this movie is. You start to really appreciate, like, the dad's kind of technology stupid. You've got the daughter who all she wants to do is make films and make videos and be all tech. So like their worlds are completely different. And so she goes off to college, and instead of going off to college, he thinks this is going to be my last time to bond with her. Let's do a road trip. And in the midst of that road trip, the big tech giant, Apple, whatever you want to call it, their machines take over the world because, like any other, too much AI, it thinks it knows better for the people than people do. And it's fucking great. Like, the world's going crazy behind them at first, and they're just trucking along, being a family, fighting and doing all this road trip shit. And then they finally flip where they realize what's going on. They get a hold of like a couple malfunctioning robots. It's a whole thing, and it's got a lot of adult humor that went over the heads of my 10 and 5-year-old, and I'm sitting there laughing like my ass off. And then it's got a lot of like the good kid humor, and it's got a big cast as far as the voices go. It's
Danny McBride.
I was
Maya
really
Rudolph,
surprised,
Eric
like,
Andre.
really surprised. And so yeah, that's my top, like, one of my top 5 movies. Like, I'll rewatch that constantly. I enjoyed it. I remember seeing the trailer for it, and it just, with everything else in 2020, disappeared, and was like, oh, it just showed up on Netflix one day. I'm like, all right, I'll put that on.
Well, I will definitely watch it later.
I said that one.
I really would like you to. I think you'd like it. Watch it tonight. I think you'd like it. Okay, let's go back to the worst.
Number 4.
Yeah, I actually didn't know where to put this because this movie sucks. But
Apparently at number 4.
so we're just gonna throw it in to number 4 because honestly, I didn't know where to put it. It's terrible, but
Number 4.
I just need it to be. I just need. But it would be the Tomorrow War. This
almost made my list.
this movie is terrible. Chris Pratt, I like him. I know they keep casting him to do these like weird action stuff and like comedy and action. It was so bad. I sat there and I thought, watching it on Amazon, is this a real film? The story makes absolutely no sense. The science of it doesn't make any sense. At one point, they're explaining how time travel works, and it makes absolutely no sense. Like, sometimes, like Back to the Future or different time travel movies, you can be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. This movie's like, we can only do it, like, going forward, but not going backwards, I don't know. And they're like,
yeah,
you don't
time
even
travel's
know your
hard
own
to
fucking technology.
Yeah,
like,
time travel's hard to nail down in a way that makes sense to the idiots and
Right.
makes sense to the nerdy, dumb, well, I've seen this 1,000 times before.
You gotta have the right crystals.
It's just so bad.
So, and it's a lot like Chris Pratt. He's not very good in it. His daughter, who is played by the chick from
She's a
Dexter,
10.
she's
Yvonne Strahovski.
Yeah, she's not very good in it. By the end, you just want them all to die. The aliens in it don't make any sense. There's nothing redeeming about this. I felt like I wasted all of my time watching this. Like, I was actually bitter. I was asking Amazon for my time
This
back.
is one of those straight to Amazon Studios, whatever
Which isn't
it is.
terrible, because Manchester by the Sea is one of my favorite movies of all time. But this movie completely missed the fucking
Oh, I'm not
mark.
saying because that's who did it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's where people could find it. That's where
if you really
want to
watch a bad movie, and I'm tired of people like, oh, it's good. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Please stop acting like it's good. There's nothing good about it. Anyways.
This is another one of those movies that
I'm frustrated.
The reputation got out before I was able to watch
Really?
it.
Because I thought everybody loved it.
Well, no,
I've heard
because
a lot
I
of people
heard
love
I
it.
just heard a lot of people just say it was like, it wasn't very good. And I see things online too. So I mean, and I think online people are a little more
generous.
Like, no, I actually think they're worse online than they are to like people that I like talk to in everyday life. Because there's people that I talk to that are just like, yeah, it was pretty good. Like, it was a decent movie.
Well,
but when people tell me that doesn't make me want to go see something. I have like a finite amount of time to watch movies, as
Right.
we all know, and I have to be kind of particular on what I want to watch. And these movies, as soon as I hear that they're not good movies,
It's out of the rotation.
Yeah, it's out. Like, I just don't even want to
Well,
sit through it.
And I think when you have like a group of people that you interact with either on the street or personally, that group is smaller. You've cultivated that group, so maybe not everybody's going to align with what you think, but most of the time, it's like when Aaron tells me a movie is bad. There's a good chance I'm probably going to feel the same way. The internet's just full of everybody, and that's when you get fucking either the crazies or the good ones. And it's it's like when you're working in retail, when someone complains, they're gonna tell 10 people, you know what I mean? Like, but when someone had a good experience, they're really not gonna tell 10 people. Maybe they'll tell someone in passing, but that's it. So it's the same thing. The internet's that person who has a complaint about something, they want to tell as many people about how their experience was terrible. So
yeah,
this is
I
one of
hate
those movies that was just terrible.
I hate the fact that the internet or people's opinions can ruin things for me, because I
Yeah.
try to stay very open when I go to a
so-
movie, but it plays such a huge part.
So
for
I
me,
try not to
you know?
do that. Like, I definitely, I watch the reviews. I check what people are saying online.
Read
and
the
then,
scripts.
Yeah, and then I just
Look at the plot.
So, and
know all the twists
before you
it
even watches it.
I mean, hey man, everybody watches movies a different way.
Yeah.
I think you can still know all that stuff. As I've always said, if you can do a twist in a film and I know it,
And
and
you
it's
still
still
surprised?
a good movie, or you're still surprised, then that's a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
So I don't need to. I knew the twist at Sixth Sense. I still think that's a great movie, and I was ruined for me in school. I knew the twist in Fight Club, and that's my favorite movie of all time. It has nothing to do with the story itself. It has to do with the filmmaking. But I don't want to sit here and just say I didn't like Tomorrow War because. But I really need you to understand there was a lot of because movie in this film. There's a lot of oh, you survived because the plot needed you to survive. Oh, the
Right.
reason this works is because the plot needed it to work. There was none of it was natural or artificial. It was all artificial. None of it was natural, and it was just completely. It made the audience member. It made me feel like I was a stupid person. Like they were catering to someone who just didn't like movies and just wanted to see Chris Pratt with a gun for 2 hours and it just be nonsensical. I hated this movie. I hope to never see it again. Anyways, your top 5.
No,
Jordan,
that's
or
pretty.
your bottom 5.
It's a pretty good bottom 5. All right, so for me, my number 4 is not only one of the worst movies I saw last year, but also just a huge disappointment with all the hype that came behind it. I know it came out during a pandemic. I think it actually still did well in the theater when it released. It's one of those dual releases, but it's horrible. I don't want a sequel. I don't want any more of these movies. I'm tired of them fucking up the formula. Mortal Kombat.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. What the fuck, Warner Brothers? I get that they took their entire slate and was like, we're just going to throw it on HBO Max. But at some point, and maybe they didn't, they sacrificed quality for convenience because this movie fucking sucked.
It was bad.
And it wasn't even on my bottom 5. It was so bad I didn't even think about it. I own it, too.
So do I.
So
Actually,
here's
you
another
gave it to
one.
me.
I know.
Another one that got out ahead of me that I did not want to invest the time to watch.
I thought you went to the theater with him.
us.
No.
I didn't see it with you.
You guys went.
I saw it at home.
See, I thought
no
you
way I
guys
went.
went.
There's
I
no
did
way
not
I
go see
watched
that
it by myself.
Now, I think the original Mortal Kombat that came out in, what was it?
The 90s, like 95.
Was garbage.
Yes.
Now,
94,
that
95.
movie was garbage. Now, with the technology that you have today, we should be able to get a good fucking Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And this was one of those, again, and I think you're starting to see a theme here, that the reputation got out ahead of it, and I'm like, I'm not even going to waste my time watching
Well,
it.
here's the problem with this movie. They thought, well, we're going to reboot this movie, and everything has to be a world-building event. You can't have a standalone movie. You have to always think, I want to make 3 other movies after this movie. So we have to build these worlds and connect all these threads. So what they did was they made a movie that should have honestly been a half-hour prequel in front of the movie.
Yes.
This was a bad plot. This was a pointless plot. There was some, like you said, just because of plot had to happen. They killed off characters that honestly were the best characters in this movie, acting-wise and character-wise, just because of convenience. There was no explanation of anything. They brought in characters that no one heard of. Like, a lot of the bad guys were like these weird characters that, who the fuck were these guys?
Or how about Cole? Whatever.
Who
his
the
name
fuck is Cole?
Yeah.
They
Dude,
brought
I'm
it. They
almost
made
sure
it.
you saw this with me in the theater.
No, I was going to. You ended up seeing it before me, and then I watched it on HBO like that night. Or I
Really?
Yeah.
The problem with these franchise movies that are so near and dear to people is that they get the wrong people directing or producing these movies. They need to get people with some passion for the subject. And I just don't understand how a guy like me who is not in the film world can sit there and think to myself, I could make a better movie.
Well,
when you see these.
You've played Mortal Kombat, right? Like
Yes.
growing up, you've played Mortal Kombat.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you were to
For
make a Mortal Kombat
hours.
movie based off the fact that you played this game, who would you think maybe you want to have as a protagonist?
Well,
other than maybe that very original movie being Liu Kang and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
that.
I think you want the original characters in there. You want Liu Kang, you want Johnny Cage, you want, Raiden, you want all these characters from the original.
Scorpion, Sub-Zero.
Yeah, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, all these, those are the characters you want.
So you didn't want to watch Cole. You didn't
Who
want to
the
watch
fuck is
Cole.
Cole?
Who the fuck is Cole?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they made a character for this movie to be the everyman. The Scott, if you will. Like, so Scott's running around.
Well, maybe I'll like it
He
then.
gets his ass kicked constantly. He is not a good fighter. They make some convoluted
Just
story
like
that
Scott.
he's a descendant of Scorpion's family. And somehow
So this is like the Tokyo Drift of
this
Mortal
is
Kombat.
so bad.
Introduce a character that nobody knows and try to make him a thing.
Well, they were trying to reboot the franchise at that point.
I
but we
know.
don't need to get into all that.
But and then like everyone's got all these great superpowers. His superpower was he puts on a Gucci shirt
He does
and beats the
taxes.
fuck out of Goro. Like it is the worst.
It was really bad.
It was bad.
My thing
It was
about
really
it,
bad.
and the other thing I wanted to say is, stop thinking you're going to get a trilogy. Stop.
Yeah, and
you
they just
have
end it.
to start. You have to give us a good movie in order to get your next movie. Iron Man was a great movie. That's why the Marvel Cinematic Universe started. If they didn't just were like, we're going to introduce this one character, and then we're just going to
Good
build
luck.
a 22-year film franchise out of it.
Yeah, but
No.
you saw Iron Man in Iron Man. Mortal Kombat is about a fighting tournament. Where was the tournament?
I
It
agree.
didn't exist.
I agree.
The fights were subpar, even compared to the original. The subpar fighting.
You tune into Mortal Kombat because you want fighting, you want the gore that Mortal Kombat gave you when you were younger, because it was one of the first franchises that showed the blood on the video screen.
Oh,
it was
many people complaining
you
about
could
that.
rip somebody's head off. You could stab people through the chest. That was the greatest part of it. And if you're not going to bring that aspect to it, then I'm out.
It was bad.
I appreciate the conversation on this, guys, but we're never going to get out of here if we keep harping on all the movies.
No, we got to harp on more.
We only got 2 lists, so we're good.
I was going to say, this is 2 out of 3. I think we'll be all right.
All right, so my number 4 favorite film.
We're only on 4?
Actually, why don't you go first?
All right, my number 4, just to speed it along, I actually really enjoyed this movie. It was definitely not going to be on a lot of people's lists. Scott will never watch this movie. It's The Green Knight.
Tell me a tale of yourself, so that I might know thee.
I have none to tell.
Yet. You have none to tell yet.
I fear I'm not meant for greatness.
We all fear, but fear can be a gift.
Do not waste this.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love The Green Knight. I agree. It had a lot of.
It was very artsy.
It
was probably artsy. I would say the artsiest movie that I picked in my top 5. It's based off of an old story. They were pretty close to the source material. There was a few little things here and there, especially toward the end, that felt a little like they deviated. But as far as story goes, I think it was well told.
So this was directed by David Lowery, who also did the A24 film A Ghost Story, which I loved.
Yeah.
Nobody else did, unless you're into artsy films.
We have candles. We love A24.
But he said that this was his most personal film, and they did deviate from the original story a little bit, but I still felt like it worked. I felt like it was gripping and compelling.
Right.
And to me, it's a Christmas movie. To me, it's something
It
I'm
is.
going to watch during Christmas time. I
actually re-released it around Christmas in the
yeah.
theater again, because it is a Christmas
It's based
movie.
on an old Christmas tale. It's pretty much what you want your kids to learn, and it's always to be truthful, always to be virtuous, no matter what the cost, and you always have to pay for the consequences of the things you promise. And honestly, I thought this was one of the most well-made movies of the year. I absolutely fucking loved it.
It was
we saw
beautiful.
It together.
It was beautifully shot.
I own it.
I own it.
Yeah, we own it together. Yeah. Did I get it for you?
No.
Oh.
Actually, no. You ordered it for me. I paid you for it because it was on sale.
I knew it.
I got a good deal on the 4K.
I might surprise you guys and just
saw
I might
it?
try to watch this.
I mean,
no, I have not seen it.
I would love for you
because
to
this is
watch
another one of those
this.
movies that looked like it was just so far over my head that I didn't even want to sit and put myself through it.
I think the core of the storyline you'll like. I think some of how that's told might make
tell you
be
what,
like,
I'll make you a
"Ugh,
deal.
I'm bored."
You watch The Green Knight, I'll drink ranch soda.
Deal.
Oh my God, you're gonna watch it tonight. We're gonna watch it.
Now, not the whole thing. I'll take a swig.
That's fine.
All right.
That's fine.
Yeah, the
You
whole
heard-
thing.
you
comes
heard it
with
here
100
first.
Downloads. Okay, so he's gonna watch The Green Knight. That's gonna be.
We bypassed the 100 downloads. We're in the Green Knight territory.
Oof.
How long is this movie?
I would say about 2 hours.
Okay. All right. I'll try to.
You have to watch
keep
the whole
myself
thing,
awake.
and I want you to.
Do I need to write like a 10-page report?
No, but you
No,
gotta
we're gonna have
explain
a-
the
we're gonna have a
plot,
review of it.
because you can't sit there and because it's not fair if you go home and just watch like a couple YouTube videos. You'll get it if you do that.
You know what? So Aaron and I did another show a while back, and there was times where we did some movie reviews on that show where I didn't have time to watch the movie, and I would try to do that. And I can tell you that when you try to just get the whole gist
to
of a
fake it.
movie and try to fake it just from watching YouTube videos, you can't do it.
No.
You can't do it.
I
It's
did the same
impossible.
shit.
There will.
Yep.
You'll
Because
know
I
the-
can tell.
you'll
I can
know
tell the ones
you'll
you
know
did.
the plot, but
I didn't like our other co-hosts. So I didn't care that much.
You'll lose a lot of the atmosphere of a movie if you do it that way, because this movie is 100% atmosphere. Like, it really is. The way it's shot, where it's located, the way people interact. I mean, even the Green Knight himself, like toward, especially the beginning, but I definitely at the end, it's one of those things. So that was definitely my number 4.
Okay, and for my number 4, which we're 40 minutes into this, and we only done
this is gonna be a long
2.
This is an end of the year wrap.
I know. So number 4 for me,
have a bigger memory
and
card.
I know neither of you saw this because apparently I'm on my own with these, was The French Dispatch.
Discover the world of Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch.
Bit of sports, bit of crime, bit of politics.
It's brilliant, a breakless freewheel through a teeming bazaar.
Physically or metaphorically?
Both. Anderson bombards us with delicious concoctions.
Write down the recipe.
It's a rocket ship ride to your cinematic soul.
I assure you it's erotic.
It's probably a turning point in the evolution of human pictography. And it's positively exuberant with stars of the silver screen.
Je ne crois plus en tes promesses, tu m'as trop menti. Je n'ai plus que la tristesse pour croire.
You're fired.
Really?
Don't cry in my office.
Pourrais croire en toi.
It's one of the best movies of the year.
No, it isn't. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is.
I watched it.
Did you really?
I watched it. It came out on video on demand.
Fuck yeah. So if
No,
you
where
like,
it's not on my top 5.
well, that's fine, but it should be.
It was good.
It's not on my top 5 either.
If you like not Paul Thomas Anderson, Wes Anderson, you're gonna love this film because it's very Wes Anderson. I thought so. A lot of his movies, they're very good. They're always good. Like my favorite of his as of right now was The Grand Budapest Hotel, but the way he told The French Dispatch with the 3 separate stories and with it all around being a central theme around the Bill Murray thing, it's just more Wes Anderson. And so if you like Wes Anderson, you're going to love this movie. I overly love this movie. I saw it on a Saturday, or I think it was like a Friday.
Yeah, that was part of your I have to watch movies from sun up to sundown.
Yeah,
days.
I did that. I did
like
Last
4
Soho,
movies.
French Dispatch, Antlers. But I fell in love with this film. I bought the Blu-ray, but I've already watched it again on Flickster or whatever. I love each story just as much as the last one. It's infinitely rewatchable. I think Timothée Chalamet is incredible in this film. I think Benicio del Toro is good, and it helped that I saw No Time to Die the week before, and then I saw The French Dispatch because the girl from No Time to Die is in French Dispatch as the model chick,
Léa Seydoux.
Yeah, and I think this is, if you're a Wes Anderson fan, you're gonna love it. If you're not gonna like it at all. But it definitely deserves a place on the top whatever of the year because it is an incredibly good movie. It's how filmmaking should be. I
do believe
adore
as
it.
he does these stories and as he does these movies, he does get better and better. I do feel though like my favorite is Royal Tenenbaums. Like I'm always just gonna love that movie.
I love Royal Tenenbaums
Steve
too.
Zissou is okay. I mean I just think like
I've never seen that. I own it, but I never.
Yeah, he's found his cast of characters and that's what he sticks with. And a lot of the time it works, and sometimes is not as good. I would say Royal Tenenbaums is my number 1 for that, but that is up there. I mean, it was a good movie.
Yeah.
It really is.
So, all right, we don't spend as much time on the good movies as we do on the bad movies, but that's okay.
Well, because and this goes back to when you have a good experience, you don't really tell a lot of people about it,
true,
and when you have a bad experience, there's a lot to say about it.
So, what's your what?
Three. I'm doing that pan thing.
Are we to do bottom 3?
Bottom
the
3.
bad? Okay, so my number 3, and we really don't have to talk about this a whole lot because it's a garbage fucking movie. I hate this director. Fucking die. Army of the Dead. Fuck off, Zack Snyder. Fuck you.
Oh yeah.
Fuck your 4-hour Justice League movie. Fuck Army of the Dead. Fuck the sequels that you're about to do. And you know what? Fuck me for yelling and trying to wake up your kid.
No,
I'm so fucking tired.
You're fine, dude. No, I completely agree. I watched Army of the Dead in the background, and It wasn't one I needed to stop and watch. It was fucking terrible.
They already made a
sequel. They tried to do this like time loop and make it into a giant franchise. Zack Snyder should be barred from making films. I'm tired of his fucking ass. He is my least favorite director. I will fight anyone who wants to argue he has never made a good film besides 300. 300's a good movie. But he didn't. He had what's his face come in.
You get like Sucker Punch.
No, Sucker Punch sucks. But what's his face? Frank Miller came in and helped him with 300. Yeah. Frank Miller came in and helped him with Watchmen, which I also find good.
Because he had source material. When he comes up with an original story on his own, they are bad. Justice League, he knew of the Justice League and said, "Fuck it, I'll write this story myself." No. 300 had an existing story. Watchmen, I still love the Watchmen. A lot of people hate that movie.
No, I like that movie. I just don't.
But that is
it's
source
a great
material.
Movie.
He had a template to follow.
I agree.
It's like with the Game of Thrones. The second they got past the existing source material, that show went off the fucking rails, and it sucked. This is his problem.
And everyone that says the Dawn of the Dead remake, you're fucking retarded. I mean, that shit is so dumb.
It was okay.
You probably need to edit that out. I don't think I should be talking like that.
Retarded?
Yeah.
Retarded.
Yeah. Never mind. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%. That movie fucking sucked. It wasn't on my list because I forgot about it, to be completely honest.
Like I said, there's a lot to pull from for bad shit.
So my number 3 was one we saw together, all of us.
Oh, my God. Is this my number 2?
I don't know. No. F9.
Oh, shit.
No, that movie...
You want the quintessential jumping the shark?
Yeah, it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
Well, it jumped the shark and went right into space. Like, it just like, let's go over the shark.
In a fucking Fiero.
So here's the thing. The first 3 Fast and Furious, while not good, are enjoyable. I'd say cult classics. I'd say the second one isn't even that great. It's probably up there with one of the worst movies. But
I love the first one, though.
The first one's great. The third one's really good. And then once they started to do once they realized that people like this stuff again and started to bring back Paul Walker and Vin Diesel and did 4, 5, and 6.
4 was good.
I was good. They should have ended it at 6.
At some point, they became international spies.
Right. Once they decided that they were Marvel movies and they were bringing in somebody called Mr. Nobody, giving Dom a fucking brother that's never been mentioned in the last 9 movies. My problem with this is my problem with a lot of films, and I think I mentioned this for something else. Tomorrow War, I think. The movie treated you like you were an idiot.
Yep.
The movie treated you like you were a really stupid person, and you were just going to enjoy whatever was on screen. And that's just not something I can get past. Magnets don't work that way. Stop making me fucking feel like I'm in the Twilight
I'm still
Zone.
waiting for the Fast and Furious where Jesse comes back. I'm waiting for it where they bring him up on a computer screen and it's like, oh my God, Jesse's alive.
He's not alive. They uploaded his consciousness into this computer system.
Yeah.
And he's like an AI or something. Yeah.
But just
from MIT.
No one can die in the movie. It's become a comic book. It's become unwatchable. And I mean, this happened with a lot of them. Turning a fucking a torpedo with your bare hand. I hate the people that are just like, you turn your brain off and you watch it and it's fun. That isn't fun for me.
This is remove your brain and never put it back in your head.
It's literally, it's so not fun for me that I don't know if I can keep going.
When you're shooting lines from the front of your car, like grappling lines, and you're swinging from cliffs, at some point, I think we all just looked at each other in the fucking movie and we're like,
that axle came off.
You've got to be fucking
His
shitting
tire
me
came
at this
off.
point.
Like, no.
And the reason it's so high up there is because of how well the franchise was and how, well, for lack of a better term, how it's fallen off a cliff.
But you know what? Good for these motherfuckers for bleeding the movie industry of all their fucking money.
Turning out money.
I mean, I guess, you do you, man.
Can't be that much. The Rock said no to the next one, which I kind of respect him for because fuck him.
In such a great way, too.
So we're back on the best, right?
Yep.
All righty. You go ahead, Jordan.
All right. My number 3 is something that you've been telling me to finally watch. I watched it, and I needed to put something on here that reflects my style of movies that I really love. It's not Halloween. It's The Night House.
Houses wherein men have lived and died are haunted houses. Through the open doors, the harmless phantoms on their errands glide. With feet sound upon the floors. We meet them at the doorway, on the stair, along the passages they come and go. Impalpable impressions on the air. A sense of something moving to and fro.
Oh, really? I still haven't watched it.
Fuck you.
I know.
You have been bugging me to watch this movie.
I know.
And to finally watch it. I was
Is
like,
that good?
And I told you I was going to watch it. It is.
I'll watch it tonight. I swear to God.
It is fucking awesome. Like
Oh.
it is suspenseful.
He was trying to get us to watch this for the Halloween special.
You've been literally telling me for months to finally watch it, and you were like, "We got to watch it. We got to talk about it."
So I watched a ton of movies for the end of the year.
Yeah, they
and
don't matter.
Stuff that I was going to watch for the Oscars and stuff, and it just kind of
the Night House. I think you are going to enjoy.
Yes,
like a lot. It's got the main actress that was in this last King Kong movie. She was in what was that? Ben Affleck Boston movie.
Oh, The Town.
She was in The Town. She's one of the main people in The Town. But The Night House, it is such a good movie, and I'm not going to even go into the plot because I don't want to ruin anything for you. But it is
Rebecca Hall.
Hall. It is a very suspenseful movie. It is almost like creepy, but not like jump scare creepy. It's not like a horror movie in the sense of slasher films, things like that. It's just good. It's just really good.
This was actually one of so I listened to the Colors of the Dark podcast from Fangoria, and this was one of the guys on it, Elric Kane, his favorite horror films of the year too.
It was good.
I hate
it was well done.
I hate that I missed out. I wish I could have talked to you about this. So I'll definitely. But the writers are the same writers from that movie that I watched earlier this year. That definitely gets an honorable mention as a Discovery. But what was it called? Man, it's gonna bother me. Super Dark Times, and they wrote it. Different director, same guy directed like VHS, but you're right. I bought it and I wanted you to watch it, and then I kind of forgot because I thought we were going to watch it at the same time. You never brought it up, so I'm clearly not blaming you. That's my own stupid fault.
It's your fault. It's your fault.
Why are you taking my candle back?
No,
sliding that back from the candle.
But seriously, this is definitely one I want to check out.
Please
Maybe we can talk about it next week.
Please do. I think you'll like it. I think Scott would like this one too.
It's a horror movie, and you like horror movies.
But yeah, it's. I would say it's not quite the woke, and I hate using that term a lot, but it's not one of those A24 horror movies, and it's not a slasher film. It's just right in the middle where it's just...
then I'm probably okay.
Yes, I think you would like
because
this.
I hate the brainy horror, slow burn shit. Dude, I am just not into the slow burn stuff. If you give me a good story...
This is good.
Then I can accept the slow burn stuff. But I just hate the fact that I even use the term slow burn because it drives me absolutely bonkers when I see somebody post something and say, it's a slow burn. It's so good. And I'm like, you're fucking dumb.
Well, and it's one of those...
You're fucking dumb. Dude, movies can be a slow burn.
That's what I said. If it's got a good story.
Yes. In some cases. Oh, I mean, let's go to some video games where someone says, well, you have to put in about 4 hours before it gets really good. I was like, why? Why would I want to invest 4 hours of my time in a shitty concept, in a shitty game for it to finally get good? Hook me in. Let it play out a little bit. But you could slow down a story after you get me hooked and then build up. No, this is a good movie. This is... I definitely recommend it, and I'm not going to talk any more about it because I want you to watch it.
I'm going to watch it tonight, and we can talk about it on the show next week. My number 3 is... Don't even... Hold on. What I really want to say is... Don't
I could do to you.
You done?
Yes.
Excited.
Do not watch this. I don't want you anywhere near this movie.
He doesn't want you to ruin it.
Power of the Dog.
25 years since our first run together. 1900 and nothing.
It's a long time.
What you doing? Getting mixed up with her.
You are marvelous, Rose. We were married Sunday.
I wonder what little lady made these.
I did, sir.
Well, Brother Phil,
Open up the gate. Let him out.
You sure he's not ready?
Go on, let him out.
He's just a man, Peter. Only another man.
A man was made by patience and the odds against him.
For what kind of man would I be if I did not help my mother?
Peter!
If I did not save her?
Sort of a lonesome place out here, Pete. Unless you get in the swing of things.
Directed by Jane Campion, I think
Yes.
that's how you pronounce her name. Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons. Man, this movie is so fucking good.
I almost watched it yesterday.
It's a slow burn. It's a super slow burn. But the last 30 minutes of this film are so powerful. And it's like anti-Brokeback Mountain. I don't know how to explain it, but
watching it.
Are you?
I'm gonna watch
Okay.
it just to shit on your parade.
Okay, whatever.
He's like, I fell asleep 3 times.
It's about Kirsten Dunst is this. She runs this inn for cattle ranchers, and Jesse Plemons is this rich cattle rancher, and his brother runs all the cattle, and he winds up marrying Kirsten Dunst, who already has a son who's very eccentric, and Benedict Cumberbatch is this kind of gruff douchebag, which he plays a douchebag very well. I think he's a douchebag as Doctor Strange as well. And then it just goes down this road of I don't, for the fact that you guys haven't watched it, I don't want to spoil it, but it's powerful, dude. It is so fucking good. And like I said, the last 30 minutes when you're just like, holy shit.
I haven't heard any bad things about it, and I wanted to watch it. I almost literally watched it yesterday and then didn't.
The lady who directed it, she also directed 1993 The Piano, which is another really big New Zealand hit, but this is also a New Zealand thing or something. Yeah, although that takes place in Montana, but it's almost a Western, but it's not. It's just that time where there are cars, but
it's probably early 20s.
Yeah, but people are still riding
20s, 30s.
Yeah, people are still riding horses, and
it's Montana now.
It's so
could have said this was
good.
Made takes place in 2021, and if you said Montana, I would have just assumed cars and horses were
and honestly,
everywhere.
if Scott can get past the first hour of it, I think he'll like it, but
it's tough.
It's only an hour and a half.
It's 2 hours long.
If you get past the first hour.
I love this movie. I hope it wins Best Picture. And it's not even my favorite movie.
It's
of the year.
weird because it came out on Netflix.
Yes, it's a Netflix film.
Are they still kind of doing that whole let's not put Netflix movies and streaming movies into the Oscars because
I don't know.
Spielberg's a fucking douche.
Irishman did last year, and
because
they made won.
They made an exception for certain people, but I know there was a long fucking tirade by people like Spielberg who were like, well, I don't think it should be this. It should be movies that grossed a certain amount or got a certain amount of days in the theater, and that's why they kind of made some of these rules where it's it has to be in theaters for X amount of days to be considered.
If this doesn't win something,
it's a dumb excuse. It's a movie's a movie.
With that mentality, Fast 9 wins Best Picture of the year.
Right?
Exactly.
They made all the money.
Well, but yeah,
Spider-Man will win Best Picture.
Fine, I'll let it. But yeah, I wanted to see it. I want to watch it. Actually, looking into.
Did you ever see The Phantom Thread?
We were talking about it when we were driving out of Tucson. I hadn't watched it.
Okay, I didn't know if you had seen it since
I know
then.
no.
Okay,
that was 3 weeks
so
ago.
Power of the Dog. The best way to describe it, maybe The Phantom Thread.
Okay.
It kind of similar, not the similar story, but I feel like you'd have to watch Phantom Thread to understand.
Okay.
But yeah, I highly recommend this.
I didn't know Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst were married.
Yeah,
and it's because of that show Fargo. They met on the set. I'm just like, what a weird combo. He's the meth Matt Damon. And
yeah, I always call him that
just
too.
Weird. Meth Damon.
So back to our worst films. What do you? So number 2 was Space Jam 2 for me. So you can bring up your second worst film.
My second worst film is *Malignant*. I don't want to talk about this movie anymore.
we already discussed it, so that's good because we were like pushing time.
I just had like a PSD flashback.
Yeah, no. Everyone loved this movie online. Everyone championed it for being original.
This is a bad movie. If you like this movie, please question your ability at watching film.
You're a dummy. You've never watched film before. This was the first one you watched. You have no opinion. *Malignant* is terrible.
The whole fucking Harry Potter head in the back.
Fucking
Jesus
Voldemort
Christ.
was doing kung fu in a police station. I don't fucking care about this movie. No, stop talking about it. We're done.
Okay.
We're done.
So let's move.
That was my number 2.
So my
Worst
number
movie.
2, like I said, was Space Jam. So we'll move back to best films of 2021. And I will go with, and you knew this was coming. I don't care. There's a lot of drama surrounding this, and I'm not even going to get into his personal drama, but it is Licorice Pizza.
It's a god-awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair.
I met the girl I'm gonna marry one day.
But her mommy is yelling no, and her daddy has told her to go.
Listen, young lady.
But her friend is nowhere to be seen.
So how'd you become such a hotshot actor?
She walks through her
I'm a showman. That's what I'm meant to do.
to the seats with the clearest view. Then she's hooked to the silver screen.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Do you know who my girlfriend is?
Barbra Streisand?
Barbra Streisand.
Sand.
Sand, yeah, like sands. Like the ocean, like
Barbra
beaches.
Streisand?
No, like Streisand.
Sand.
But the film is a sad thing for.
This is fate that brought us together.
But she's lived it 10 times or more.
Our roads took us here.
She could spit in the eyes of fools.
You're not my director.
They ask her to focus on.
Do you really want to see my boobs?
Can I touch them?
See you tomorrow.
Fighting in the dance hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go.
I think it's weird I hang out with Gary and his friends all the time. I think it's weird that I hang out with Gary and his 15-year-old friends all the time.
Take a look at the old man beating up the wrong guy. Oh man, wonder if you'll ever know
I'm not gonna forget you.
who's in the best-selling show.
Just like you're not gonna forget me. Gross.
Roll sound. Roll camera A. Roll camera B. Marking.
Action.
I'm coming, Nancy!
Oh my God, Paul Thomas Anderson. This is the anti-Phantom Thread. It is about a 15-year-old who thinks he's 30 and a 25-year-old girl who thinks she's 15. And they're dynamic, and it works, and it's funny, and it's good, and it's just the best, the most fun I had at the theater. 2 hours of my life, and I fucking loved every second of it. It's pure Paul Thomas Anderson. I can't wait to own this film. I can't wait to just watch it over and over again. Bradley Cooper's funny in it. He steals every scene he's in, but he's only in it for very, very little time. And it's a hangout film. It reminds me of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It is a hangout film where it's good. It just exists to have these characters hanging out, and you love them, and you want them to be a part of your life, and you just enjoyed every second of it. And Benny Safdie's in it. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
A guy who made Good Time and Uncut Gems.
The Safdie brothers.
Yeah, one of the Safdie brothers. And he's excellent in it. Didn't even know he was an actor.
Yeah, he just signed on to another big movie, and I can't remember what it is, but yeah, he's gone the realm of being an actor-director type.
So I would love for you guys to watch this, and we could discuss it as a show, just as something throw on front of something. But it was everything I wanted it to be.
Literally on Christmas.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those time-wise, I just couldn't
I get
make
it. I get it. And I wasn't going to wait for you on this one because it was something I wanted to see all
don't
year.
care,
It was one of my most anticipated films of the year, and it lived up. It was fucking awesome. Please see Licorice Pizza.
How's the main actress's lisp?
She's
That
great.
annoys
I
me.
thought she was wonderful. She did great. She's very unlikable in this, but likable at the same time. You're like, oh, that's a girl. Like, that's what girls do. Like at one point, she gets mad at him, and he's like, all right, I'll do it myself, and she's just like, oh, okay, I'll drive you. Okay, I'll drive you. And guy's like, no, just leaves her. I'm like, yes.
Nice.
It was just so. It's just. I even think you would really like it, dude. So when I finally get it or buy it, I think it's on Flickster. Actually, we could sit down and watch it.
It reminds me, like, just little bits that I've seen. It kind of made me feel like you went to the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood riff. I kind of feel like because it's what is it, a period piece, like 70s, 80s?
Kind of, yeah.
It reminds me of like that Dazed and Confused feel that
it
everybody
is,
wants some feel. Like it's just like it maybe takes place over a couple days, and it's just like
it takes place over a couple
life
months,
happening, and I just kind of want to experience
like
that.
The main guy. Man, I have it written down, so it's all good. The Cooper Hoffman,
yeah, it's
which
Philip
is
Seymour Hoffman's son. He is so likable in this. He's always trying to like get rich quick, and he's making up these scenarios and buying like business properties and stuff. And he's only 15, and he's just funny and charming. And like I said, it's just a hangout movie, man. It's just it's a good hangout movie, and I can't say enough good stuff about it. And it's crazy because I didn't know that Philip Seymour Hoffman had a son who went into acting.
Me neither.
On the opposite end of it, and this didn't make my bottom 5, but it came close. The Many Saints of Newark.
I never saw it. I refused.
It was so bad. Like it's just not. It's just one of those movies that didn't need to exist. They wanted to capitalize on everyone loving The Sopranos so much. I thought it was boring. I thought it went nowhere. It was It didn't need to exist.
See, and I heard from like regular people that it was okay. I didn't hear anything
I
overly
like
negative about it, but there was no reason for me to
and that's
watch
why
it.
it didn't crack my top 5 because it was like it didn't do anything egregious to be like one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
What's up with are these guys who'd made like Breaking Bad and Sopranos making these movies, but the movies are shit compared to their shows? Because I think the guy who did Sopranos made the movie. I can't remember his name.
What happens is that you get the ability to tell a story in long form. You have more running room. Like you have more runway to mess with. So if you can tell a 10-hour story, you have time to develop characters. If you've condensed it into a 2-hour thing, a lot of these guys don't know how to write. Like they just don't know how to tell that story in such a condensed format. Whereas, if you have 10 hours to work with, hour-long episodic things, you can build these characters. You can get to know these people. And that's why, again, when I go back to Anna and the Apocalypse, you had an hour-and-a-half, 2-hour movie that made you feel about characters in a short amount of time, whereas any other people would take that 2 hours and you have to throw things out for convenience, for plot, for thing. You don't get character development. So when you got these guys that don't know how to do a movie, that's why.
Yeah.
They have to have that long form. They need to be long-winded. And that's why that works, and that's why it doesn't.
Right. So, okay, I guess we're moving on to our number ones. This is it, guys. I
still have 2 because...
Oh, right, because I didn't have 2.
That was that your number 1?
No, that was my number 2.
Okay, so
I meant for worst film.
Oh, Licorice Pizza was your worst?
No, we're going back to worst films.
Okay, then go to your worst. I'm just kidding. You go to your worst.
I thought
I already did my number 2 for worst.
Right, so we're on our number 1s for worst. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
Worst. Jesus. All right. So number 1 worst movie of the year for me.
I hope this lines up. I really hope this lines up. Because I'll be so happy if we can talk about
this.
It's
fucking Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Damn it.
Sorry. Fuck you. Every one of you who are parading around the internet that are like, we did it. We got our Snyder cut. Was it still a terrible movie? Oh, wow. You got a fucking director who we've already discussed who doesn't understand these fucking characters. The movie fucking sucked. They took a shitty movie and they added 2 hours to it and made it shittier. You're the problem. You are the fucking problem with movies. Stay out of people's way. I don't care what you as a fan want. I want what the best is for the characters, and I want you nowhere near it because you're stupid. The internet. Do you hear me? You're stupid. You're a stupid person. I am not a smart person. I'm not going to call up Steven Spielberg and say what I think the next Jaws should be because there shouldn't be another Jaws. But you stupid person sitting in your fucking house right now thinks there should be another Jaws because you're eating fucking Domino's pizza and you're dumb. And I hate you.
If you'd like to respond, Aaron, you could go to watchitlaterpod@gmail.com.
I'm not talking about. Hopefully, I'm not talking to any listeners of our show.
You know what? No. You know what? No. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 of you out there that probably like that movie.
I really hated this movie, man.
Well, it's one of those. Everyone wanted it. Not everyone. The internet nerds wanted it. They finally got it. And even up until release, no one knew how this was going to play out because Zack Snyder's like, well, I need to tell it in this format and wanted to do episodic, which is evident in how this movie finally played out. It's 4 hours long, and it stops fades out, does title sequences, and moves on. Those are the episode breaks. Then they said, no, I want to release it as a 4-hour movie. So they put it out, and they never fixed the episode breaks. So it feels disjointed through the entire 4 hours.
Even making it episodic would have made it good.
It would have made it more palatable, I think. So you watch an hour, you're like, okay, I want to see where the next one's going on, and then they release it the week after. It would have had longevity.
Do you think because the internet nerds wanted this 4-hour cut that they were promised?
I don't even think they wanted
they
the
just
4 hours.
couldn't go back on it, that it was a shitty film.
Maybe.
That they were just like, you know what?
That's a good point.
We've already put our whole feet in the water on this one. We're just gonna have to fucking sit here and freeze to death.
I guess so.
For me, I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I hate Zack Snyder's version of Superman.
Same.
I didn't like Man of Steel. I hated Batman v Superman with the whole Martha bullshit.
You've got some of the
I didn't like any of this.
comic book characters of all time.
They should be doing what Spider-Man and the Avengers are doing. They should be doing that. And what I mean by that is they should be doing those numbers. They should be able to tell there are hundreds of Superman stories
We might
perfect.
get that because the announcement of Warner Brothers possibly going to Disney.
Well, that's been in talks for years and years, and I honestly I don't want it now. I don't.
They've run the whole DC franchise. Other than Batman, they've tried to do the Marvel thing with it, and it has just failed from every corner.
No, they don't even do that because they had the first two Batman, 89 and 91. They did those two movies, and then the third movie has nothing to do with the previous two. They never build a world in a slow and in a methodic way that gets you introduced to characters. They throw shit against the wall. If it doesn't work, they throw a new character in.
I've liked every Batman movie except for Batman v Superman.
Right, and it sucks because I liked Ben Affleck as Batman,
too.
but that movie is terrible.
Yeah, and it sucks that it put a bad taste in his mouth because I do like Ben Affleck.
He just came out again and said it was one of the worst experiences. Justice League, when Joss Whedon was finishing it up, was the worst experience for him. And it's weird because apparently he's going to be in... He came in for the reshoots for Zack Snyder's bullshit for that end of the world sequence that I want nothing to do with.
Right, and they're not going to do anything with that. So, cool, you got it. You got your weird Joker telling Batman to jerk him off or something, or whatever it is you wanted.
That was so out of character.
Because Jared
for
Leto
any
is
of
a
that.
terrible Joker, no matter how much you try to think he's good. He's not a good Joker. He's a good actor. He's not a good Joker. Please just leave it alone.
And
Let
it sucks
die.
because I like Jared Leto when he's doing these little weird, indie movies, as it were. Because one of my favorite movies with him and Nicolas Cage is Lord of War, and he was great in that. They played brothers who were gun runners from Russia. I loved it.
I
Great
love
movie.
Lord of the War. That's one of my favorite movies.
He was great as a side character in Fight Club. Like, he was the pretty boy. Great. He was great in American Psycho. Great. But anything big, anything that has come out that he is the focus on has not been a good movie. And it sucks because I like him when he does those things. But yeah, this movie was
I'm hoping Barry Keoghan?
Keegan?
Is that how you pronounce it? I hope he becomes the Joker. And we can have
hard
a
to
good
tell.
Joker again.
I mean...
Because that dude's a psycho. If you've ever seen Killing of a Sacred Deer, he's a psychopath. And I don't know. I hate that.
He was one of the more standout shining moments of the Eternals. As much as we all had differing opinions on most of that movie, and just the overall feel of that movie was not worth it.
Right.
He was good.
Yes.
I liked his character.
And I've always seen him to be as good in everything he's in. I like him. So anyway, Zack Snyder, stop making movies. You don't understand characters. You don't deserve a platform. Goodbye.
Anyway.
All right, what's your number one worst?
My number one worst movie is something that was so bad that we stood up after watching this movie together in the theater, and you apologized for making me watch this
was
movie.
going on my list. But
you literally, the first words are, "I'm sorry I made you come see this with me."
This is on my top 10 list, but didn't make my top 5.
That's Escape Room Tournament of Champions.
Oh, my God.
What a shit show. What a terrible movie. Like, the first one was serviceable. The second one took everything that made that first one palatable and put in the worst acting, the worst traps, as it were. Like, Saw created this world and everyone wants to try to emulate it, and it's the worst. It was not good. it was almost like it was made to be PG because it didn't show anything. You saw no blood or guts. You saw no one die on screen. There was one scene where there was acid rain coming down, and maybe you saw people's skin burning. But then, just as you were really going to see it, they cut away. This movie's terrible. Like it was so bad.
Yeah, it was. It's just the first one I thought was actually very good. It was very Saw-esque. They did a lot with very little, and then they got paid.
Littler.
They got paid, and they were like, "Let's go spend all this money on drugs or something, and we'll just make this the worst of the worst."
It was bad.
I didn't care about any of these characters, and the characters that they did bring back from the first one don't do enough.
Like
They
that
just
main
don't
actress
do
is
enough.
one of the worst actresses
She's
I've ever
pretty
seen on
bad,
screen.
but I still liked her.
I hated her.
Still
I hate her. She was
Well,
a
I'm
complete
talking-
selfish bitch
in the
as
first
far as
one
the
I'm
character
talking about.
goes.
Yeah.
And like the friend was right. Like get away from everything. And he's just like, okay, power boners, and like followed her to get fucking in this shit again. And that movie was the worst and most boring.
The power of
pointless.
boners will always win.
Win out. It was like an hour and a half. Like it couldn't have been shorter. Like I just wanted it to be done.
It was very bad.
All right. Well, here we are. What everybody's been waiting for.
No one's waiting for it. 38 listeners.
Yeah.
Everybody's
if we
been
still
waiting
have
for
any
it.
after I just called everyone stupid and dumb.
We have 2
I'm
left
sorry about
on
that.
our top 5.
2 left.
I have 2. I have 2.
Well, then maybe you didn't say one.
You didn't say one.
No.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah. Wait.
No,
wait,
we had a repeat on our worst, so that's why we were on our number 1 for worst, because we had to skip one of yours because we already talked about it.
But I
so you didn't do your number 2 worst?
Number 2 best. I only have 2
Oh,
best.
right. I did the licorice pizza as my number 2 best.
Oh.
Okay, well then my number 2 best.
Well, we fucking
because
blew
We
right
fucked
over
up.
him.
We did it. We fucked up. We are super
And
unprofessional.
we are not going to edit this in post.
Nope.
It is bad.
Nope.
Anyway, all right. So then my number 2
Getting it raw.
is the documentary that I was talking about that you didn't know that I was going to pick.
Can I guess?
You can guess.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
All right. I have 2 guesses.
Okay.
Sparks Brothers.
No. But
Okay.
oh my God, I've been wanting to watch that movie so bad.
All right. And then my second guess, there was another documentary.
There was a couple.
You know what? I don't
It's
know.
not the Summer of Soul either. Even though I watched that and that came
I
close
heard
to
it's
being on my number
amazing. I
5.
heard
It
it's
is
amazing.
really good, produced by Questlove.
Yeah, I know.
Please watch that movie.
I will.
It's so good.
I will.
My number 2 is Val.
Hi, my name's Val.
I don't do this with every interview I go on. Take you inside my home. I don't. But I'm going to.
My name is Val Kilmer. I'm an actor. I've lived a magical life, and I've captured quite a bit of it.
Push the button.
I was the first guy I knew to own a video camera.
Here we are, filming ourselves.
Is that a video
rolling, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool, Val.
I have thousands of hours of videotapes and film reels that I've shot throughout my life and career.
Shut the video camera off.
I will keep it on until we're rehearsing.
Oh, down.
I was recently diagnosed with throat cancer. I'm still recovering, and it is difficult to talk and to be understood. But I want to tell my story more than ever.
I spent decades finding my voice
I was a perfectly normal person.
through characters,
I give you about 4 takes with some different voices.
through movies.
One of the things they buy for all that money, your life for a period of time.
I have behaved poorly.
More wine, more drunk, more women.
I have behaved bravely. Bizarrely to some.
How do you heal a broken heart?
I see myself as a sensitive, intelligent human being, but with the soul of a clown.
5, 2, 6. The world at the one, take the 5.
It's a story about my life. That is also not my life.
Oh, okay.
Val Kilmer
That was my
documentary.
second guess, but I
It's
couldn't
crazy.
remember.
I was going to say that, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I look like a dumbass because I fucking say Val.
I agree. That go ahead.
Since the 80s, he's been one of my favorite actors, and it depresses me to no end where he is at with his life and his career. And it bums me out that he's gone the way he has. A lot of it has to do with personal choices. Great. A lot of it has to do with, I think, the throat cancer that affected him. And he tried to hide, and then it just became a whole thing. And now he's where he's at now. He has been in iconic movies like Tombstone. God, what the fuck? Top Gun. I mean, like, he's just, those are the like most iconic.
I mean, he was Batman too.
He's Batman. They go into why he had to drop out from the second one, how hard it was to film that movie. Like, he, for the most part, the way the suit was apparently was covering his ears so much. If his acting came off as rubber or wooden, it's because he couldn't hear anything. They didn't have any earpieces in his head. You know, he couldn't hear the dialogue. So people were acting around him, and he was just like, I'm Batman. You know, and it's just like it just goes through his life and his career, and a lot of it is footage that this man had the foresight, and he was so into acting that he had been filming things since he was a kid. The second he had a camera in hand, everything was filmed. And I love The Ghost in the Darkness, and I love The Island of Dr. Moreau. That was a terrible movie, but he talks about how Brando was such a diva on set and wouldn't come to film. Like, there are parts of the movie where that's not even Brando on the movie. Like, it was such a amazing insight to this man's life and knowing so much about it. I watched it twice. Like, I loved this documentary, and it's so good to me.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it too. I know everything you said is true. And
it bums me out. He's such a great.
It was one of those days
Tombstone.
where I was cleaning up this room, and I put it on, and I sat down and watched the whole thing. It was
I felt
it was
bad.
very good insight. I always heard he was a dick, and this made me feel like maybe he wasn't that big of a dick.
I feel
So
like
that.
maybe he was, because everyone told me he was hard to work with. He was a diva and stuff like that.
Right.
And a lot of it shows that, he took the craft
Maybe
serious.
not. Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't.
It was cool seeing him go to school with like Sean Penn and stuff like that.
Yeah, like some of that early footage was kind
Who's
of
also
neat.
in Licorice Pizza. Just FYI.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sean Penn.
So, yes, that's my number 2. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah. All right, well, my number 2 was Licorice Pizza. And I already talked about it.
Now the moment everybody's been waiting for.
All right, our number 1.
So I'm going to go.
You go first.
I'm going to go first, and the reason I'm going to go first is because none of you have heard of this film, and I don't care, and I'm just going to tell you.
Zack Snyder's
Yeah, it's Zack Snyder's
Somehow
Justice League.
made my worst and my best.
Cinematic Marvel. Fuck you, Marvel.
So this number 1, it did come out and I spent, I would say, a good 3 weeks looking for it. I planned a trip to California to see it just because I knew it wouldn't work out. Finally, Flickster came through. It came through, bro.
I have a feeling I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name.
It's called Drive My Car.
今回は私たちの決まりでドライバーを用意します。
というと
彼女です。
渡美咲です。
僕はまだドライバーを君に頼むことに同意してない。
私が若い女だからですか？
高槻コーチです。アーストロフィア君を希望します。
拜托。
そこまでありがとう。カセットテープを再生してくれないか。
はい。
どうした？そんな浮かない顔をして。
誰の声なんですか？
妻の声だ。2年前に死んだ。
お父さんって素敵じゃないですか。とても。
君はこう考えてる。僕たちは同じ悲しみを共有してる。同じ女を愛したから。彼女の運転はどうですか？車に乗ってるのを忘れることもある。彼女にドライバーを頼んでもらってよかったと今は思ってます。
Oh, Japanese movie.
Film from Japan.
Almost made my top 5.
And it's by Rasuke Hamaguchi.
These are my favorite times in the world right now when you can't pronounce people's names.
I'm sorry, it's
so
very
happy.
foreign.
I can't wait to talk about your Korean movie next.
Oh my goodness. So I watched this and it's 3 hours long and it feels like it's an hour long. It is so beautiful. It is shot so wonderfully. This movie is what I hope does for Japan films that it did for Korean films with like Parasite. Like I hope this film does what Parasite did for Japan films. That
Do you see this being recognized by Oscars like Parasite was? Because honestly,
absolutely.
Because I've heard of this movie. I've watched part of it. I didn't get to watch the rest of it. I did see it on Flixster. I don't see this being as mainstream as
maybe not,
maybe
but I've
you
heard
and I would want it to be.
All the buffs that I know won't shut up about this
Buff
movie.
Bagwell
and that's why I wanted to
see. I've never heard of this movie.
Yes,
I heard of Parasite.
Right.
So
Well, people
I mean,
were
that's,
just,
but it's also
kissing
not out
Parasite's
yet.
ass.
It's not going to come out to theaters until probably about February, about the time the Oscars ramp up, because I think that this is going to be Oscar bait. But this movie is based on a short story. And I actually read the story after I saw the film because I fucking loved it so much. It's very short. It's only like, I don't know, like 30 pages long or something like that. I just read it online. You don't actually see the credits in this film till 40 minutes in. 40 minutes into the film and you start seeing the credits. But this movie is about loss. It's about throwing yourself into your work, and it's about connecting with other people. It's beautiful. It is one of the most beautiful. I cried like a fucking girl at the end of this film. It is so goddamn good. And like I said, and if you can just get past the 2 inches of subtitles, I just think that a lot more people would like a lot more movies, because it's one of the it's so fucking good. It might be one of the best films I've ever seen in my life. It might go into my top 10. I need to see it a few more times. But I just remember watching it that first time and just feeling overwhelmed, like emotionally, and just caring so much about all these characters that I was seeing on screen. He cast these characters into this play. One of them has one of them has the sign language, and everyone in this film is broken. It's just,
You sure that's not the Eternals?
Yeah, fuck you.
Sign language, broken people.
Are you done?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. So if it is the Eternals, it's done way better than the fucking Eternals. So
no, it's definitely something I've been needing to get around, because like you can't get it anywhere. You can't find it.
Right, you can't find it anywhere, but you can. It is available for streaming on Flixster. And I don't usually recommend stealing, but like when this comes out in the theaters, I will 100% go see it in the theaters, because it deserves a big screen. It deserves a huge audience. And I'm just excited to experience that in the theaters. 3 hours. Like, Irishman is a good movie, but it was hard to sit through those 3 hours. This movie, you're like, it's done? How long is it? Oh my God, 3 hours. So I can't recommend this film enough. What are you going to shit on, Scott? Because you're sitting over there like looking at me like I'm going to...
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he's got it. He's good.
Okay, cool.
I'm just, because we're at the point now where I can zone out.
Oh, yeah, he's never watched.
Because I've never watched any
or
of these
seen
movies,
any of these.
so I'm just kind of staring into
You
the
mean when the
abyss.
minute you pressed record until about now?
So what is your number one, sir?
My number one, it's a movie that when you watch the trailer, you're like, okay, this is going to be this type of movie. And when you watch this movie, you're like, that was nothing that I expected. That was nothing that this advertised. This was phenomenal. This should earn this man his second Oscar. My number one movie of 2021, Pig.
I'm looking for a truffle pig. Someone stole her.
I don't understand.
Tell him who you are.
You made the right choice being out there in the woods. There's nothing here for you anymore. There's really nothing here for most of us. Buy yourself a new pig.
What are you thinking?
I remember every meal I ever cooked. I remember every person I ever served. You live your life for them, and they don't even see you. You don't even see yourself. We don't get a lot of things to really care about. Who has my pig?
Yeah, that's on my list, and it was supposed to, but like I said, I had to slash off a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So if I did a regular top 10, I could have adjusted some of these around, and Pig would have been on there. I completely agree. I saw it alone with the weird, creepy guy in the theater.
I remember that. That was the guy that was
gonna
kill you.
But it was such a phenomenal performance that I didn't even really worry about the creepy murderer guy. Nicolas Cage is excellent. He continues to reinvent himself. He made one of the worst films of the year and one of the best films of the year.
To me, I feel like at this point now in his career, he is the white Sam Jackson, where he is just in everything. He will do like you said, the dumbest movie of the year, which I believe was
Willy's Wonderland.
Nope, I would say Ghostland of.
Prisoners of Ghostland. So both of them. He has 2 horrible films of 2021.
Well, no, the funny thing is, one of them is like
fucking horrible,
and it sucked because I wanted that to be good, and he literally sat there mute the whole time and got paid fucking billions of dollars.
I assumed that Willy's Wonderland was kind of, for me, it was going to be the kind of the second coming of maybe like a Zombieland type thing, where he kind of encompasses that character that like Woody Harrelson was.
Yeah,
and it just never.
The director is a Korean director, and he's known for just making weird fucking movies, but.
Well,
they really knew how to edit that trailer.
They were like, you know what, we don't have the license for Five Nights at Freddy's, but we want to make this movie anyway. So like, this was like, okay, let's
about
just
Willy's Wonderland. I thought I was talking about Prisoners of Ghostland.
No, yeah, and then that movie was wacky and wild and
horrible.
Yeah. But see, he's gone the gamut of doing some really, really fucking great indie movies and then done some really, really bad movies. Like one of my favorite movies that he's done is Mandy. So fucking good. I believe it was some director, last name Cosmopoulos or something like that. He's like a Greek director.
I own that film.
Mandy, I have it too.
No, Cosmopoulos.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one. But yeah, no, he's done some really crazy movies. Pig, I felt, was going to be one of those where it's like just random, and Pig was very surprising. Like I came away with that going, that was nothing like I expected. I'm not going to talk about it in detail because I want people to watch this movie.
Have you seen it?
It's fantastic.
Pig? No.
You need to watch it.
Yeah.
You need to watch that before Green Knight.
Again, it's like I get...
It's only an hour and a half.
I branch out to these Nick Cage movies, man, that are like, on these weird spectrums, and then I get hit with the fucking flopper.
It's
and
not
then
a flopper.
And it doesn't make me doesn't make me want to watch the other ones.
I don't think Pig's going to win anything this year, but it should.
Yes. And I
no Spider-Man, huh?
No,
really.
Spider-Man's good. It's not a top. It's for me to be a top. I'm not.
Would it be in a top 10 list? Or
yes.
Okay.
Definitely top 10. Like
right.
I thought it was going to be in my top 5. I had it up there, and then I realized I can't honestly. As much as I want this to be a top 5 movie, it's still a cartoony Spider-Man movie.
I agree.
And
I completely agree.
I feel like there are other things that really lasted with me longer and made me actually feel something. Like, yes, I cried in Spider-Man, but after I get over it, it's like, okay,
it's still Spider-Man. I get it.
It's because it's not so much the story; it was the nostalgia that made me feel that way.
I agree with
you.
It
wasn't the story that did it. So
was it the story?
I think it was the story that did it. Just like, I enjoyed Halloween Kills. Is it a top 5 movie? No. It might be on my top 10 because I didn't see a ton of movies over 2021. But it's because that was a nostalgia movie for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be on anyone's top 5 or 10 or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, so, to condense it to a top 5, I had to bump out things that, maybe were good or I just saw or whatever, and go with my gut. And
since we're already doing an hour and a half podcast, next year we're doing 10. I don't give a fuck.
We'll never get through it. We just have to just name 10.
Then I might have a list by that point.
Yeah,
we're gonna make you watch movies this year.
So I told Aaron that I said I don't even remember what the hell I've watched all year. I said I'm just gonna have to write everything down that I watched because by the end of the year I will never remember it.
Get a letterbox.
Maybe, I don't know.
Anyways, so I have some honorable mentions that I just want to talk about before we leave. If you have any, that's cool too. I have for both worst and best, so I'll start with my best because I really want people to check these movies out. Old Henry, Shout Factor movie. It's a Western. It's fucking awesome. It would be on my top 10. I recommend it to anyone who's seen it. Riders of Justice with Mads Mikkelsen.
I watched it.
Did you like it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a fucking John Wick. I don't know how to explain it, but it's so good. It's a Danish film, right? I think Danish. And I watched it with the subtitles, and then I tried to watch the dubbed version. The dubbed version is horrific.
It's bad.
So I watched the dubbed version, but it's a really good movie. It's kind of like this domino affecting fucking just incredible action film, and I just think it doesn't live up to its title. If you saw the DVD case, you would think it's like a B movie that he just made one day for no reason, but it is.
And
it's really good.
Good honorable mentions.
These are my good honorable mentions. Yeah. Dune. Fuck you both. That's a great movie. It would be on my top 10. It would probably be 6 because
It would be a great movie if it was complete.
That's fine. You can think whatever you want. Everybody has said it's good. Dennis Villeneuve.
Vanilla
Oh,
latte.
he said it was good too.
Oh, I
No,
hope so.
he did an incredible job. I think the biggest thing is
Visually, great.
Can I talk? Thank you.
Slow as shit.
Dune, the one that I finally watched the old version, and I think the reason that this new Dune is so good is because it bypasses all the politics. It breaks it down to you and explains it to you, kind of like you're a dummy. But it worked on that system. It is a great movie. It's visually amazing. It's a good movie. I guarantee it's going to win something. If it's not for visuals
it'll be audio.
or effects or audio or even storytelling, I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
It'll be for audio, maybe like you said, visual effects. But honestly, I came away from that. It felt so slow.
Yeah, but
like
you're
where
wrong.
you said
You're wrong.
Drive My Car was 3 hours and it went by like that. Dune felt every bit of those 2 hours and 40 some odd minutes.
Nah.
Every bit of it. And it bums me out because I know the source material. I read the books. I've seen the original. I'm not saying the original's good, but for me to end it where it ended it, I just felt like the movie was incomplete. And I understand this story needed to be told in long form. I just felt like I was ripped off of story.
I mean,
and it bummed me
enjoy
out.
being wrong.
Okay.
The Sparks Brothers documentary, which I did watch. So
I've never heard of these guys. And then like
I know no one.
I looked into it, and like these guys have been around forever. They have 25 albums out. Everyone's influenced by them. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why don't I know anything about it? So yes, that is definitely on my list that I want to watch.
And the two last, I have one more honorable mention, and then a Discovery. That was my favorite Discovery of the year.
Boss Level?
No. Belfast.
Okay.
By Kenneth Branagh. It's not good enough to hit my top 10. Just making things black and white does not mean that your movie is excellent. It's a very good movie. I enjoyed that time period. He wanted to do a Roma. I can tell he really wanted to get into the Oscars with this. I just don't think it's there, but it's still very enjoyable what he does with music and the color in this film, because like whenever Kenneth Branagh, it's based on him pretty much growing up in Belfast, and I'm not exactly sure what the political thing was going on in the film. However, like they're trying to persecute Catholics or something like that, and whenever he goes to the movies, that's the only thing in color, so it's kind of like shaping him. It shows him reading a Thor comic, so I popped at that, and I think it is a very good movie. It's just not the greatest movie ever, but I like Kenneth Branagh, so I enjoyed watching it. I'd actually watch it again. And then my most favorite Discovery of the year was a movie called Big Time Adolescence with Pete Davidson. It's on Hulu. I highly recommend this film. Stupid Machine Gun Kelly's in it, but other than that,
yeah. But he was in that Motley Crue made for Netflix.
Yeah,
movie,
and
he wasn't that bad in it.
Yeah,
so
I
like,
agree.
I have a little bit more respect for Machine Gun Kelly as far as that goes.
Right. So that was my favorite Discovery of the year. I mean, I also, Nightmare Alley, 1947. I have a ton, but I just didn't write them down. So, do you have any favorite honorable mentions?
Spencer.
I love Spencer.
I honestly am so surprised on how well she did in that movie as a leading role.
She's probably taking Best Actress this year.
Most likely. I mean, her transformation into Diana, and just the fact that
wait, Diana's dead.
Yeah, weird, right?
Kidding.
I was actually driving home from an ASU football game when I heard about that. So that's how old I am.
So old, so very old.
But yeah, that was actually a very big surprise for me. God, what else was that I really read? Come on is on my list, but not for the show. Joaquin Phoenix is great. Yeah,
That whole movie's fucking incredible.
I wouldn't want to talk about it. I even just loved knowing about the behind the scenes of that, where Joaquin kind of took that young actor under his wing, and they were like, he was teaching him how to act basically and be a good actor. And it's just like, I like that he bonded with that guy as well as he did, and it showed. Like it really did show in the movie.
I wouldn't be surprised if he won something. That kid is fucking amazing.
He was really
Woody
good.
Norman is his name, Jesse.
Yeah, no, that was really good.
Did you watch it at home?
Yeah.
Okay. I went to the theaters and saw it.
This one was a late honorable mention for me because you told me to watch it, and it's another cartoon, Ron's Gone Wrong.
Oh,
that was
movie
fucking funny
great.
as shit.
Disney Plus.
Yeah, it was really good. Oh, it was on Disney Plus and HBO Max. Like
Yeah.
somehow it was
I
like
watched
a
on Disney
dual
Plus.
streaming deal. That was really funny. It was along the same vein as Mitchells vs. Machines. I think that one was a slightly better movie, but it was really good. Ghostbusters was fun and nostalgic, and I wouldn't say it's my top 10, but it's good. I can't wait to own it. But a lot of those, like same with Spider-Man, it just hits you in the nostalgic button, and that's why they stick with you. Another documentary that I really, really liked, and it plays into what I've been watching lately, is the Miyagi. It's called Miyagi. It's about the guy who played Mr. Miyagi. It's about his life and him growing up and him and through his acting career and his struggles and his battle with alcoholism. And it's a fucking depressing documentary,
Morita.
but it's just so good.
I knew that.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
say it
Noriaki
next time.
Pat Morita. But that was probably my biggest discovery of 2021 that I watched that I really, really enjoyed. For some reason, I think I caught it like on Netflix, like not Netflix, but I was searching through like YouTube and it just came up as a trailer and I watched it. I'm like, I have to fucking watch this. And I couldn't find it anywhere. I ended up having to, pirate it, watch it. And it was really good.
We steal movies. All right. And then last but not least, just some honorable mentions for my worst film because I really want you to avoid these. Infinite, Chaos Walking, even though I fucking bought it before I realized it was terrible.
It was bad.
Willy's Wonderland, which I already mentioned.
For every Spider-Man, he's done 3 terrible fucking movies like Cherry.
Cherry was terrible. What was it? Oh, Prisoners of Ghostland. Free Guy. That movie fucking sucked.
It's on your shelf in 4K.
I'm tired of you guys thinking it's good.
It was not good. It was insulting. Like, we were sitting in the theater watching it, and I was insulted that they kind of made all these gamer people... Like, on the one side, you had the streamers, and then the other side, you had the fucking idiot guy who had the Channing Tatum avatar being like, Mom, gotta eat this shit. I'm like, fuck you. This is not how gamers are anymore. I'm so fucking tired of people talking.
Just want a better movie, go see Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Don't even watch that. It's terrible, too.
I like Ty Sheridan.
Yeah.
So, I'll take it.
Better than Free Guy.
Don't
Free
Look
Guy
Up is
sucked.
fucking terrible. Don't watch that. I don't care that Adam McKay directed and Leonardo DiCaprio's in it.
That is such a mixed movie because everyone's
I hated
talking
it.
about it, and then everyone's also shitting on it, but then everyone's like, well, it was not that bad. And like, I'm just
Have
like,
you watched it?
I didn't care.
Man, you should watch
I'll
it.
watch it. It's on Netflix. I just didn't care.
There's there's a couple of chuckles in it, but there's no, it's like somebody took a 2-hour SNL skit and decided to make it into a movie.
All right, so then I'm going to pose this question so we don't get too long-winded on anything.
We're already there.
Yeah. 2022 is upon us. Anything this year that you are looking forward to watching?
Honestly, not yet. I don't know. I don't know if there's...
Because, like, other than Marvel movies being on the calendar, we know they're coming. Is there anything that you've heard through the grapevine, anything rumblings and things like that?
No. And that's my problem. It's like, usually I do know by now, and I haven't heard of anything. Is there anything for you?
I've got 2.
What?
I want to watch the Coen brother directed.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, it's already out.
Well, it just came out after the first of the year. It was supposed to be out late last year, and then
It's been at Harkins, the Superstition Spring one, since the beginning of December. I just can't make
Did
it
they
over
put it
there.
out? Okay,
Yeah.
because I know it was coming to Apple as well.
Next week, the 14th or something like that?
Yeah, so that one looks great. It's, I think, one of the first Coen brother directed movies. I know they kind of split off.
I've heard it's amazing.
They're not going to do movies together anymore. One of the other Coen brothers
What's
wants
the name
to do
of it?
It's The Tragedy of Macbeth. So it's who's in it? Francis McDormand's in it.
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington plays Macbeth. I mean, it's got a good cast. It's in black and white. I mean, it looks very artsy, but I love Shakespeare. I took classes. I mean, I can't wait to see what they do with this. Like, it looks interesting.
I'm going through 2022 movies, and nothing looks appealing.
And the other movie...
Oh, Ambulance, I guess. Jake
Yeah,
Gyllenhaal,
that
but
looks
that comes
pretty
out in
good.
January,
But-
so I don't think it's going to be very good.
I think what we're going to see in it...
The Northman?
Oh, yes, that's my number... probably top 3 more, looking forward to movies. The other movie I kind of really want to watch, and you're going to give me shit for who's in it, is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage and The Mandalorian. I got to it before you did. That looks fucking silly and wacky and crazy. I love those meta movies. It reminds me of Being John Malkovich, where it's like Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage in this movie, but he's like a fucking comic version of, you know, the Nicolas Cage we all see, so he's playing it up. And
It looks terrible, but I'm definitely going to check it out.
It looks fun. Like it's a fun movie. It's not one of these superhero movies that we're all going to see this year. It's not a crazy. I mean, Ambulance is a Michael Bay movie. I through the whole trailer you could tell what's going to happen. They're going to do a helicopter shot. They're going to do fucking underneath pan around.
Tons of spinnies.
All filmed at
There's
golden hour.
nothing I'm excited for. Usually I'll hear something coming through the vine and then I'll get excited. But like last year my most anticipated was like Last Night in Soho, and
that one was on the slate for a while.
And it was a great movie. It's just not. It didn't live up to expectations, and then other stuff. But anyways,
you want to see Morbius?
No. This was an extra long episode for you guys. This wraps up 2021, onward and upward, as they say. Whole slew of new things for you in 2022, like me hitting that thing. We are going to. And we'll do this again next year and, stuff like that. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This was more for me than it was for anybody else because I don't have a Facebook and I can't post the list. Follow me on Letterboxd. We have some great recommendations coming up, stuff like that. More guest stars on the Snack Show and more movies to watch. So I'm Aaron.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I'm Jordan.
And Scott.
It's because I said I was Jordan last time. This was I'll Watch It Later Pod. You can follow along at watchitlaterpod.com, Watch It Later Pod Instagram, and Watch It Later Pod Twitter. And always go to Facebook and I'll Watch It Later Podcast. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.